Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden, and I garden in Zone 8B in Southeastern North Carolina. I absolutely love sharing gardening things, ideas, photos, videos with people, watching what they're doing and letting them see what I'm doing. And I've loved sharing my gardening journey with you so far. This year, one of my main gardening goals is to expand my flower beds, make them bigger, add more things, more dimension and textures. And the caveat for that is I want to do it on a budget. I absolutely love perennials because when they get bigger, you can divide them up and move them to other places in your yard. So dividing up my own perennials and using them to expand my garden is definitely my #1 money-saving tip. But a few months ago, I created a video entirely about how to save money when you're expanding your garden, and dividing up my perennials is only one of those things. I have a flower bed that I would like you to join me in today, where I'm going to be showing you how I'm utilizing all the money-saving tips that I had put in that video to show you the multiple ways that you can do the same thing if you're looking to expand. We all have different sized properties and probably different gardening goals as well. But if one of your main goals is to grow your garden this year and do it on a budget, then we're on the same page. So the new flower bed that I want to show you is right on the other side of this fence line. So come along with me and let's talk about how we can save money in the garden this year. Now I live on a corner lot. One of my main flower beds in my front yard that goes to the side, so it's like the front corner, is what I like to call my peninsula garden bed. So it goes all the way to my fence line and it is anchored by a magnolia tree right here. But behind the magnolia tree, I have a whole line of long fence, and I'm trying to create flower beds in front of the fence for 2 reasons. So starting from my magnolia and going back, I have, yes, a long fence line to cover, but I also have a drainage ditch or a swale that goes right here between my property and the road. I want flower beds that are gonna cover some of the fence, so as people drive down the whole side of my property, the fence just looks better. And of course I have the room, so why wouldn't I try to do it? And also to try to protect my landscape from erosion as the rainwater that we get wants to carry things down to the drainage ditch. So those are the 2 reasons why I'm looking to expand this space. But holy cow, look and see how much space I have. Aye! Doing those large shots, it looks like I have nothing, like no plants and no real garden. That's what it seems to me. When things are in full bloom, you know, and even in a couple of months from now, of course things start to look much more luscious. But the idea here is I want to expand my landscape, my garden, my flower beds this whole way. So I started to do essentially up to this rock line that's right here. I don't think you can see that. So I essentially started to do from the magnolia tree to this rock line here last year. So a bunch of this stuff was taken from different parts of my yard and added into the landscape here. Now when I bought my property 8 years ago now, I had nothing except for the few shrubs that the builder actually plants around the front side of the house. This property was bare. So trust me when I say I understand the feeling of maybe not being able to have the perennials that you could divide up just yet. I understand that feeling. We just need to have patience as gardeners, because we can't just go to the garden, well, maybe some people can, go to the garden center and buy anything we want, but I can't do that. So I had to be extremely patient, just getting some plants, some perennials, all perennials that I could divide up and get them planted into my landscape. And here I am 8 years later, so I've moved many divisions around. Look at this huge plume of daylilies that I have here. This is an example of something that I took a piece of and I put it out in the flower bed that I'm working on today. The phlox, the creeping moss phlox that is right there in pink and in bloom. You'll see a piece of that on the other side of the fence as well. These are the things I'm talking about, the things that just don't quit. We're gonna see them as additions on the other side. This garden over here along the front side of my house also doesn't look plentiful at the moment, but things are beginning to spring up. So just a couple of other things to point out that I have taken pieces of for the flower bed we're working on. The golden sword yucca, it makes its own pups that you can quite easily divide up. So this plant there are multiple pups even in this one alone, but I have this probably in 8 different places in my landscape now because it does make its own. I do divide them up and I transplant. And then I have a little nandina shrub right there with the reddish foliage at the moment. I did take exactly 1 baby off the back of that and put that into the landscape as well. So all things I just wanted to point out where they are currently sitting in my landscape, but I'm taking pieces of and putting them where I'm showing you. I think maybe possibly this is the last thing I want to show you for what I've divided up. I have an amethyst falls wisteria over here. Wisteria has a little habit of letting some vines get to the ground and then those vines actually reroot in the dirt, for better or worse. Some people may not want that. I am happy to take some of these other little growths that are happening and dig those up and move them because I have a spot on the other side of my yard where I want some wisteria and now I don't have to go and buy it. So I just want to show you what I've transplanted over on the other side from this. A second money-saving tip is to garden share. Friends, family, anybody that is looking to divide their perennials and can give things away to you. Maybe you can just trade what you have in plenty and get something from them. I have Russian sage here that I got from my mom last summer. I share things with my mother all the time. And oh, right here, from my mother-in-law and father-in-law, I got Joe Pieweed last summer. That I'm not sure if it is going to come back or not because this is the first time I ever had it. Joe Pieweed is a perennial, should come back, but I don't see any evidence of life at this stage. So second money-saving tip is to garden share, and I have plenty of other plants throughout my yard that I share with neighbors. Another money-saving tip is to make garden statuary, make any kind of decor on your own or repurpose something that you have that you can add into your garden. This rock is an example of that. I just painted it myself and put a gardening quote on it that I love. It adds something, it adds color, it adds texture and dimension to the garden. It was using all supplies and items that I already had. So that is a third way we can save money in the garden. I just wanted to bring you back to my backyard side of the fence line for a moment to show you some other thing. Another money-saving tip is to plant bulbs or seeds for your flowers instead of buying things that are already established in the garden centers. I know all of these things may seem obvious to you, but if you combine these money-saving tips together, you can end up with a plentiful garden for a lot less money than you would have paid if you just went out and bought every single plant on your own that is already established. So I have some seeds that are ready to rock and roll here in my area. It is like the end of March for me, so I can go ahead and plant these seeds safely. And zinnias, bachelor buttons, more zinnias, cosmos. I have a bag of zinnia seeds that have come from somebody else as well. So I have lots of things that I can plant throughout my landscape, so that's something I'm going to be doing. And just another little example of dividing up your perennials. I had these hostas in a different part of my yard that were not being seen, and I am going to try to put some hostas closer to the water line out on that side of the fence. I don't know how they're going to work, but from what I have researched, as long as they get sun, they can have wet feet. So they should be okay in the sun and water mixture, I'm hoping. I don't know that I'm going right to the water line with them, but I have 4 divisions of hostas ready to come outside with me. Now, before I take you back to the planting area that I'm working on, I would just like to give you another money-saving tip, and that is overwintering absolutely anything that you can. Now, yes, I am lucky enough to currently have a greenhouse, and I have many beautiful things that have been overwintering inside of the greenhouse, but I didn't always have it, which meant I was storing plants inside my house by windows, and yes, even using my garden bathtub in my master bathroom that is still full of plants even though I have this. But I am overwintering as many things as possible so that I don't have to re-buy a lot of things. Besides overwintering, I'm also seed starting in here. So again, getting back to that seed and starting things that way instead of buying a plant that has already matured. So here we are back to our flower bed project. So I just wanted to show you the wisteria I was talking about. I have 3 little transplants right here in this area. So that is the last thing that I have put in the ground. And then over to this side, these are my red daylilies. This is the pink phlox I was talking about having divided up. Here I brought out my 4 pieces of hosta that I'm going to put in the ground going in this direction. I have my seed packets here ready to go. I have my little plant markers and oil-based paint pen to draw on my little label or my tags here, because this seems like it's going to be the best way to keep my names from washing off or fading in the sunlight. So I have all of those things that I'm going to do today. So just to summarize what we have happening here, an entire flower bed that is going to be created on this side of the fence line, all utilizing divided up perennials, things from our friends and family, neighbors, maybe people on Facebook Marketplace want to get rid of some things because it no longer fits in their garden. We are going to be using bulbs. Oh, speaking of bulbs, I did plant, well, you can see some daffodils behind me. They are already done, but I did plant allium bulbs in the winter, so those will come up. The seeds that I said. I think the last money saving tip I have for you is to definitely utilize sales when you're buying things, whether it's clearance items or this is spring right now. We are so lucky because spring comes with so many sales at the garden centers. One of the 2 things that I really need to be able to buy: garden soil or garden amendments for my soil and mulch. All of those things are on sale right now as it's spring and everybody's trying to get their hands in their gardens. Because of that, we have a great opportunity to buy things now or upcoming in the next month or so that do not go on sale a lot of the times for the rest of the year. So, and incidentally, I hope my fence stain is on sale too, because my fence needs to be stained so badly. These are all ideas that I am going to be using in this flower bed, and I hope that you are able to use them too. I hope you found them to be helpful, because we just want to grow beautiful things. Thank you so much for watching, and happy planting.